Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube segment, I'm going to be talking about life after people. Now, when I'm referring to life after people, I'm not talking about the world, being obliterated and that TV series about life after people and life after human existence and what would happen and dilapidated, deteriorating buildings and showing the ivy growing profusely in Wrigley Field because nobody's there to maintain it or what have you. But what I'm basically talking about is like in my life without people. Now I know I'm not literally without people 100%, but I mean, over the years, communications, relationships have dissipated. I understand a lot of that is attributed to people moving on. Somebody wrote me on Facebook one time. I had some comment about how people, kind of irritated me that people will just inexplicably stop communicating with me and they won't even give me any kind of explanation. And the person had responded by saying something like, well, I respect and understand that people move on, they have problems or something. But the reality is, being people, really, it's not a strenuous task to just write somebody and just tell them that you just don't want to communicate. It really, it's not an arduous or laborious effort that's involved in that. That being said, thing about it is I've had basically to adjust with life without people for some time. The one good thing is when you become like me, somewhat reclusive and succumb to secluded habits or what have you, you could adapt to a situation. It is very extreme. If the world actually did come to an end, there was no people left, and I was only one, I think I'd have a better chance of surviving than the average person. But that's very extreme, of course. Um, the thing is, though, we all have to make our, adjustments in our life. We reap what we sow, so we review it. I'm sure most of you understand, acknowledge that. Um, yeah, I look back and I'll see, not just look back, I'll see people that actually have families, they're biological, that they have their own family that they've made their extended family by procreating, having their own children, biological children, have a significant other. And I look at myself almost 50 years old, and sometimes it's about introspection. I have Saturn in my 12th house, and I understand respect. That Saturn in the 12th house, not just very introspective, it's very introverted, it's very reclusive. It can be just a flat out everything but a hermit placement, I believe, unless you have some elements in your chart that can kind of counteract it to some degree, or at least modify contraindicators, if you will. If you have like a Leo ascendant and chart that has like some elements that have a lot of gregarious energy, such as preponderance of planetary energy above the horizon. I'm talking to people out there that follow my astrology channel, people that understand astrology, you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, the thing about it is, when I look at things, when I look at this, again, going back to, sometimes I'll see people that will have families and they'll have people around them. There'll be places where people congregate and they'll have all kinds of friends and their acquaintances and talking to a lot of different people. And I look at myself, I say, hey, Eddie, you know what? Maybe if you look back at when I look back in time, I know we're not supposed to lament and ruminate about things that could have been done or should have been done. But I can remember a time when my grandparents had offered to put me into some kind of school, some kind of vocational school for electronics or something. Computer, I think it was electronics. But anyway, I didn't capitalize on it. We pay the price in life for the actions we don't take. And as some of you may know out there that know me on Facebook or have written to me, or seen in some of my other videos, I've stated I do have irrevocable nerve damage. As of right now, I've not been able to do anything to counteract the nerve damage or find any remedy for it. I mean, I've had nerve conduction tests, and no one was able to detect anything. A lot of times they can't detect anything when a nerve conduction test is actually performed, and because of that, I can't really I can't work substantial, do a whole lot of work at this point in time because of that. situation. And what's happened is I'm in a situation now. I'm not near like a bus line or anything, and the irrevocable nerve damage has prohibited me from driving, operating a motor vehicle. It's interesting because I actually have a driver's license, but I can't actually physically drive because it could aggravate and exacerbate the nerve damage that sadly I have succumbed to. Now, the thing about it is people will tell me, well, Eddie, why don't you go out and meet new people? Well, my answer to that, I have at least a couple answers on that. Well, first of all, it's funny how the people will ask me, well, Eddie, why won't you go meet some people? When those same people will not come out or offer to actually see me and meet me. Now, I understand a lot of people are in different states and it's not convenient all the time. But the thing is, they will not do it for whatever reason. And another thing is, well, you can't just snap your fingers and go out and meet people when you're in a situation like mine, when you're not near a bus line. And what are you going to do when you go to some place where people congregate and it's some social gathering? Say you go to some social event. Oh, gee, sorry, I don't have a car to drive. Is there a way you can drive me? If we were to go out on a date or something, would you be able to drive me there to that place? I mean, to the place, to the restaurant or whatever. I mean, it's just people don't understand all the nuances of my situation. They understand superficially what has happened with me. And and because of that, people just think, well, Eddie, you're just not making an effort or whatever, and this and that. You could argue that at some points in my life that might have been the truth. There might have been some complacency. There were other instances when I was actually closer to a bus line and I had opportunities to meet people, but at the same time, I understood that I couldn't operate a car, and it wouldn't be convenient in my mind to attempt to meet a significant other or woman because I would have to try to explain then my predicament, my situation, and that I would not be driving, and I knew that would be a hindrance. I mean, that would be a drawback in that person's mind, and it would not be convenient to take the person up because a lot of women, of course, they do want the guy to be driving and be able to take them somewhere. And it's funny as I'll get, people. I had one person say that I was loved, and one woman said I was loved, and I know, obviously wasn't in a romantic way because shortly afterwards I find out, not shortly afterwards, it's sometime later that the person is with a significant other and is involved and had become impregnated. So for that reason, I guess, I understood that basically gave affirmation to the fact that this was not any more than just love as a friend. And the thing about it is, what people don't understand is that they will again they make their assumptions on a human being based on superficial knowledge that they might have of a person, and that's a shame that it has to be like that. And the thing about it is I've had to adapt to life without people. I've been dominated by, the internet and going online to different websites and find some enjoyment. And it's at a point I can't even really play, any games or anything, or really many games, whether it's video games or what have you, or engage in vigorous sports activities. And because of that, I'm very limited. Even if I was to go and find some social event or something, most social events I'm not able to go to because I can't do the things that are required at that event, because a lot of them are sporting activities, or it could be something like dodgeball or playing softball or basketball and different things that I can't do, and I can't go to these places to even meet people on a platonic level like male friendships, because I'm not able to do those things that are connected with the activities at those places. So what people just don't quite understand that. And again, a lot of the people I had become friends with over time, the relationships, the friendships, whatever, had just inexplicably dissipated and died out. I understand people do move on. Maybe I do have to respect and understand that. but it's a thing too. And sometimes maybe I mean, I'm not perfect in that department as well, but maybe that I kind of had distanced myself, and I didn't make that much of an effort to reconnect with some of these people in some instances. And the reality is, as a result, the situation is what it is right now. Almost 50 years old, unmarried, may die alone, and it's something that it just has to be dealt with. And I guess the thing about it is I've gotten so acclimated to being by myself, and in some cases maybe I've enjoyed this introverted existence. Maybe I've just felt that it's been easier for me, and it's been less pressure. I don't have to answer to anybody. So for me, maybe I have to look at the good aspects in this. It's a shame though, because like I said, I'll be looking at some people that will that will have families, and they'll have their significant other, and I'm saying, Eddie, maybe that could have been you at some point. Could it still be me? Is it possible? Well, I mean, I understand possible and probable are obviously two different things, and for me, I just don't know if that's probable at this point, given my age and this time that has gone by. The fact that I don't really make that substantial income to really draw, attract the right woman for me at this point in all likelihood. Because again, most women are going to want somebody that has a certain income level. It's not about what's fair or what's right or wrong. It's about what society dictates, unfortunately. But that being said, I've had to function without people, and I guess to my credit, I have certain strength of character, being able to endure that, where a lot of maybe the average person might have cracked up if they had some kind of situation comparable to mine when they didn't really have many people in their life, where I basically weathered the storm, so to speak, and I survived through it, and I'm still alive. Maybe that's a testament to something. My character, maybe it shows that I'm a strong person in some levels. But people that don't really know me as well as they would think they do, they think what my existence has been preposterous. But I understand why and respect why they would think that. But the thing about it is, when you're limited in transportation and where you can go, and physical hindrances and limitations, it's not as easy as people think it is to just go out and meet people. They think it is on the surface superficially, but if they really understood the full gamut of my situation, they would understand that that's not really the case at all. And it's something that I've had to adjust to over the years, sadly. And it's something, and it's funny because some of the people that were empathetic and had empathized with my situation, those same people have drifted off and drifted out of my life, sadly. And they show, in this video, what's going to probably happen is I'll post this, and I'll link this to my couple Facebook pages. I have my fan page and my regular Facebook page, and I might get a little commentary, but I guarantee, this video is not going to make any difference in my life. I know that. It was just something I just felt like speaking out on, and for people to understand, if you do have a significant other, even if you have a few important people that are in your life scheme, appreciate it, because there's some people like me that don't barely have anybody on a day-to-day basis, where they're just going it alone, and they're just in solitude, and they just they're just basically surviving. Like me, I'm just, the only entertainment amusement I have is my sports I watch on TV, basically, and my YouTube videos, and other than that, there's nobody to really share it with, sadly, because I've been rejected by society to some degree. I don't want to cry ostracism and conspiracy theory and all this, but when you're in a situation like mine, very few people really want much to do with you, sadly, and I have to respect and understand that. And that's pretty much what it is. So, and again, I'm not going to say that, go with that adage, there's always somebody that's worse off with you, for everybody, because, try telling a paraplegic that, and how are they going to react when you say there's always someone worse off than you? But I'd like to say to people that do have a spouse out there, a significant other, and a few people that really truly care about them in life, that you do have it better as far as people in your life goes, as far as companionship and really in having the strong interaction and connections in your life than some other people have. You could be alone and feeling alone and desolate, a lot like me. Thank God that I do have some distractions in my life, like I'm doing now, the YouTube videos, and in my sports on TV, and those those things are very important, and even though they don't eradicate the problem, it does help alleviate some of the symptoms that could go with it. So anyway, people, that's what I wanted to get on as far as life without people goes. And again, it's just something that I've had to deal with and adapt with to over time, because it appears there's not going to be anything miraculous is going to happen in my life. Any great savior is going to come my way and come to my rescue, which is, those things, we see in, like fairy tales, or like in movies and things like that. But I found out that that just doesn't happen in real life when you're in a limited income situation and have a number of limitations. A lot of times you just have to go through life with certain things that are sorrowful or what have you, that are that might be, I don't want to say abysmal, but things that might cause some sorrow and some dejection. You have to, it's really just about coping with it. And I mean, I've had people in my life that would talk to me consistently. They would inexplicably drop out of my life. I don't know if it's like when you ever hear, like, the going gets tough to tough get going. Sometimes the weak go running, unfortunately, and they just they won't stay with you through your trials and tribulations. But at least you find out who your true friends are at that time. And anyway, and I've been called like names like hermit before, and really it's funny when people got to do that kind of stuff. It's really like, the analogy I love to use in that example like that, people, is that that's almost like putting a foreign substance in the intake manifold of a car when it's already running bad. I mean, you're just adding insult to abject misery and making a person feel worse about his or herself. I mean, why not take the time and interact with someone and really enjoy their company and presence, and just ridicule them and put them down? Does it make, I don't understand why people do that. Is it because of their own insecurity? Do they makes them feel powerful when they do that? I really don't understand that. But, you know, then again, maybe I don't completely understand why what's happened with me, and why, the 100% reason why I've become somewhat reclusive over time. I understand mainly why that is, though it's due to the life situation. But anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube segment. And until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.